I've said it before and I'll say it again. Billionaires are a policy failure. You can't accumulate that much wealth in a healthy system without breaking something or someone along the way. Which is why this next part absolutely pisses me off. I'm Josh, and this is Ring of Fire Weekends. And I am angrier than when I get a delivery driver ringing my doorbell after reading "Do Not Ring." I'm looking at you, FedEx, and your donations to Trump. But I'm actually mad today because one billionaire went and ruined my hatred of the rest of the billionaires. So while Republican politicians are busy banning books and targeting trans kids, they're turning queer existence into a punchline for applause, there's one billionaire that's been quietly giving literal life-saving money to an LGBTQ crisis line. Mackenzie Scott, the co-founder of Amazon, donated $45 million to the Trevor Project. Finally, some good news coming out of all this. She had no press rollout, no branding campaign, no Scott initiative for a better world and synergy or anything like that. Just a kind act to make our world better. If you recall, back in July of 2025, the federally run Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration put a stop to the LGBTQ Youth Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Some estimates say that that lifeline helped as many as 1.5 million LGBTQ youth since 2022. And the nonprofit Trevor Project was one of the organizations that staffed that hotline. When their funding was cut, they lost out on over $25 million in federal funding. Now, the Trevor Project is handling crisis support for LGBTQ youth. They have their own hotline, and unfortunately, we all know right now that that community is statistically getting crushed. The suicide risk under LGBTQ teens is already several times higher than their peers, and since this escalation of Republican culture war legislation and all of the anti-trans stuff you see and the bathroom wars, calls and chats to crisis lines have spiked. And though the federally run hotline no longer exists, like I said, the Trevor Project, they've maintained their own hotline. They've served over 250,000 youth annually. And by the way, if you are having bad thoughts like that, thinking the worst about life, you can get 24/7 immediate support by calling, texting, or chatting with the Trevor Project. It's 100% confidential, 100% free, thetrevorproject.org. And now, thanks to Mackenzie Scott, the Trevor Project can continue its mission. All thanks to a woman who's donated over $26 billion to charity since her divorce from a man who looks like a sentient thumb that learned Excel, Jeff Bezos. And if you want to understand how rare this is, most billionaire philanthropy is controlled disguised as charity. Boards stacked with friends, metrics designed to look impressive while avoiding the hardest problems, donations spread so thin that nobody actually notices. And it's all for PR and tax breaks and bullet points that they can quote the next time they go to your city council and want to build a low-wage warehouse in your hometown. Instead, Mackenzie Scott is doing the opposite. She's finding organizations that are already doing real work, and she gives them enough money to actually function. And before any of you red-hatted morons and losers come at me about her spending money she didn't earn, or that she's donating out of spite after her divorce, let's not forget that Mackenzie Scott was a co-founder of Amazon back in 1994. She wrote the business plan. She kept up the bookkeeping and even packed shipments of books herself in the early days. And instead of exploiting workers, shutting down the fragile city of Venice for a wedding, or sending celebrities into space, she is busy making the world a better place. And that alone separates her from the rest of her billionaire class. Now contrast that with where most billionaire money goes in politics. Trump's donors, they don't give money to solve problems. They give money to remove obstacles, taxes, regulations, labor protections, environmental rules, anything that slows down their extraction of profits. Mackenzie Scott gave money knowing that it wouldn't benefit her financially at all. So yes, I am totally anti-billionaire. And not because they're successful. I don't fault anyone that earned their money. But I'm anti-billionaire because they use their money and their influence to make their little club even more exclusive. But when one of them actually acts like wealth comes with an obligation instead of entitlement, I'm not going to pretend that that doesn't matter. So bravo, Miss Scott, bravo. Thanks for watching that video. I'm Josh with ROF Weekends. Be sure to catch Jared during the week, and I'm going to see you next week with more great content. And if you don't already, be sure to check out these other videos. Give us a like, follow, subscribe, wherever those buttons are.